Hey there, thinkers. You're looking good today. Hey, it's me, Quizmaster Jack. We're here with the freshman 15 of Buzzword. Week 15, 20 questions, one fewer than that 50 Cent song, which maybe they'll ask us about. Wouldn't that be delightful?
In 2023, Carol G called out this magazine's Mexican edition for excessively retouching her face on its cover. Drew McGarry interviewed Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson for this Condé Nast magazine that competes with Esquire. For 10 points, what men's style magazine...
Let's just go with GQ. Not CQ, GQ. I put GC. Why did I put GC? Oh. I put QC and then I put GC. That might be the dumbest thing I've ever done on this little show that I have. Gentleman's Quarterly. Maybe I should have just written it out. Gentleman's Quarterly. When there's only 2 letters, any typo is lethal.
A man in this film explains how music fills with a hope on a Maria Callas recording of La Mama Morta. In this film, a man reveals his chest lesions while being questioned on the stand by his Denzel Washington-played lawyer.
Ow. Philadelphia. Hey, checking my answers. Yeah, Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, Philadelphia.
This studio named designer Greg Mayles its creative director shortly after releasing the Xbox 360 game Viva Pinata. The suffix where identifies many of this developer's 1990s games.
Wait, this is just rare. Yeah. They said studio, and I thought they were going to be asking about, like, a music studio. But yeah, Viva Pinata was by Rare. I wasn't a big Rare head. That's some good games, though. Donkey Kong Country is pretty good. I think they did Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was a banger, but not the wheeliest of my wheelhouses.
This city's label, Trax Records, released songs by Adonis and the anthem Move Your Body by Marshall Jefferson. In the 1980s, a dance music style nicknamed Disco's Revenge was pioneered by Frankie Knuckles at this city's warehouse club. House music originated in, for 10 points, what city in Illinois?
Oh. I didn't realize House was in Chicago. I was sitting on Miami for a long time there. Can't believe I put GC.
This title character received letters from Reba, the mail lady, played by a young S. Apatha Murkison.
Wait. Okay. Yeah, like they're just talking about Pee-wee. I lost if they were saying, they said this title character. Okay, so they probably shouldn't have taken Pee-wee's Playhouse, but that woman's name, very distinctive name. She was the mail lady on Pee-wee's Playhouse. And you know what? You know who's been coming up a lot? Larry Fishburne as Cowboy Curtis. I was listening to a podcast about Boys in the Hood. And Larry Fishburne came up as a trivia question. And another thing I do, getting a lot of Cowboy Curtis up here in the last 72 hours.
A black and white film by this director switches to color immediately before the dance of the Oprichniki. In a 1925 movie, this director filmed a baby carriage falling downstairs during a massacre at the Odessa steps. For 10 points, what Soviet directed Ivan the Terrible and Battleship Potemkin?
I should know that flat, but I don't. I think Tarkovsky is not here. Yeah, Eisenstein. Yeah, I was never going to get to Eisenstein. I'm much better at answering movie titles rather than movie directors.
This singer adapted Federico Garcia Lorca's La Casada Infiel into The Night of Santiago, a song on his posthumous album Thanks for the Dance. This singer repeats We Kill the Flame on his song You Want It Darker. For 10 points, what Canadian sang Bird on the Wire, Suzanne, and Hallelujah?
Oh, Rufus Rainwhite? Then? Oh, Leonard Cohen. It was the original, not the cover.
A character on this show named Aneshka paralyzes and impersonates the mother of the twins Elsa and Anna. A medical procedure intended for Petra Solano is accidentally given to this show's protagonist. For 10 points, what CW show starred Gina Rodriguez as a woman who gets pregnant without...
It's Jane the Virgin. Those were some weird things that happened on Jane the Virgin. Ooh. I thought Jane the Virgin was kind of just like a sitcom-y sort of a thing. That sounds a little more dramatic.
Stephanie Hsu originated this musical's role of a girl who loves drama class named Christine. Joe Iconis wrote this 2015 musical in which a tiny device sings "All Your Nerdiness is Ugly" after Jeremy swallows it. For 10 points, name this musical about the Squip, a brain implant that makes you cool.
Maybe they made a musical out of Mind. I have no idea what they're talking about. Be More Chill? Never heard of it. Just straight up never heard of it. Whew.
This character's attire is inspired by Jean Lafitte in a 2005 novel by Isabel Allende. He debuted as the protagonist of Johnston McCulley's 1919 novel The Curse of Capistrano, which became a Douglas Fairbanks film.
This is just Zorro. Yeah, Jean Lafitte was a pirate. Only 6 right. This is a bad week. Bad week for old Quizmaster Jack. Started out with a bad typo and then just stopped getting questions right. That's all right. They asked questions that I probably wasn't going to get. Still good ones, though. Can't win them all. Well, we have the rare more points in sports than in pop culture in play. I think that is in play right now. Starting off with a country, not a city, a country.
During the only Summer Olympics hosted by this country, it won 0 gold medals. A host city in this country racked up billions in debt building the Big O Stadium to host the 1976 Olympics under Mayor Jean Drapeau. For 10 points, what country's Olympic Stadium was later the home of MLB's Expos?
Okay. Yeah, I thought Big O was Canada. And then they said a very French name that seemed really, really Canadian. Didn't feel obliged to buzz at that point.
This pitcher surrendered a 5-2 lead in the 8th inning after a mound visit by Grady Little in an ALCS Game 7. After plunking Kareem Garcia in an ALCS game, this man threw Yankees bench coach Don Zimmer to the...
Yeah, that's Pedro. The very they said Grady Little, so I thought it was a Red Sox, but a Red Sox player. But the intricacies of when he pitched in that playoff was not readily available to me. But what is readily available to me is that he grabbed his head, Don Zimmer's head, and just threw him to the ground like it was a sack of potatoes.
In 2003, this coach's team beat Peyton Manning's Colts 41-0 in the playoffs. This man, whose touchdown on a fumble return capped 1978's miracle...
It's Herm Edwards.
This school's men's basketball coach holds the NCAA record for career three-point percentage. In 2024, this school lost a first 4 game by 25 points to Colorado State. Tony Bennett coaches at, for 10 points, what ACC school, which in 2018 became the first men's team to lose to a number 16 seed.
Oh, yeah. I knew this one because I live here now. I'd heard of that. I was kind of paying attention to that because I live here now.
This country's Leones del Escogido team was formed to combat the Tigres del Licey. In 1937, this country's Dragones signed a pitcher away from the Negro Leagues, possibly at gunpoint. Cool Papa Bell and Satchel Paige were signed from the U.S. by, for 10 points, what country's dictator?
Yeah, it was Cuba. Oh, Dominican Republic. Oh yeah, the Dominican Republic kind of kidnapped guys and had them play baseball.
This man is the most recent NFL player to have a 300-yard receiving game. He broke Calvin Johnson's record to become the fastest player to reach 10,000 career yards, doing so in 2018 as the primary target of Matt Ryan. For 10 points, who is the career receiving yards leader for the Atlanta Falcons?
Is that Julio Jones? It is Julio Jones. Completely forgot who Matt Ryan played most of his career for. I do know that Matt Ryan is on the losing side of two of the most famous comebacks in history, the 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and also the 36-point comeback that the Vikings put on him a couple of years back. Also, the Falcons are not a serious football team.
Film footage shows this man removing Stanley Ketchel's teeth from his glove after knocking him out with an uppercut. After coming out of retirement to fight this man in 1910, James J. Jeffries was dubbed the Great White Hope. For 10 points, name this first black world heavyweight boxing champion.
Was that Jack Johnson? It was Jack Johnson. Slowly and surely, we're building this house of 82 points.
This coach was hired after new owner Walter Brown asked sports writers for a recommendation.
I'd heard this somewhere.
Who drafted Chuck Cooper to end the color barrier in the NBA, smoked victory cigars at the end of game.
It's Red Auerbach. Spelled it right too. 85 points. Did better than pop culture. Yeah, that's a very famous thing about Red Auerbach. That he won once he thought he'd won the game. He just lit up a cigar on the bench. Different times.
A pioneering design for these objects was named for resembling a satellite launched in 1962. A 2022 event used a polyurethane example of these objects called the Alrila. The Adidas Telstar is an example.
Yeah, it's just a soccer ball. Should have went in on the Sputnik. I think it was that was a Sputnik reference at the beginning there. I should have just went in on that, because what other objects are they going to ask about? Cricket balls? Pshaw.
Since 2000, only this man and David Ortiz have hit over 300 in their final seasons. This man, who sat out the COVID year, was injured by Scott Cousins and informally names the rule limiting...
Yeah, it's Buster Posey. Buster Posey is one of the great ones. Basically, my entire time in California coincided with his entire time playing for the Giants, and he was great. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Cowards. It's probably not even been 5 years yet, but put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he decided to not play the COVID year because he had some babies at home, and he didn't want to risk exposing them by doing something so silly as playing baseball. Probably a wise choice. Also a wise choice, liking this video and subscribing to the channel. This is actually a really good sports score that I'm glossing over with my Buster Posey story and my call to action. Speaking of action, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, watch more videos on the channel. We got a bunch. And if you want to get in on some buzzing action, head on over to naqt.com/buzzword. See what sort of games you can get into. That's going to be it for me. I'm going to go think about Buster Posey some more and how cool he is. We'll see you next time.